And well, that brings up a couple issues. And so, one of the things that we've seen over the last few years is that the social distancing and masking not only is that effective at preventing COVID, it virtually eliminated the common cold and the flu and a lot of things for the rest of us. So, we think about what we call the before times or pre-COVID. If you were a teacher like I was, or you were around a lot of people, you might get sick a few times a year. And since we've been doing all of these mitigation measures, a lot of us, some of us haven't been sick since the beginning of lockdown of the pandemic because the masks and the social distancing have prevented those other viruses and other bacterial infections from reaching us. So, do we expect that as the mask mandates are dropping, that we are going to see an uptick in flu and an uptick in the common cold and an uptick in all of these other possible diseases that people haven't been getting for the last couple of years?
I think there isn't any doubt that you're correct on both sides, Jeff. During the lockdown and the social distancing, mask wearing, et cetera, during that cautious period, there's any number of studies now to show that common respiratory viruses and some other infectious diseases were indeed reduced rather substantially. And as we have started to open up, all of a sudden these viruses are making their presence known again. For example, this morning we're part of a CDC-sponsored influenza surveillance network. Our surveillance nurses reported, yes, this last week, we've started already here in Middle Tennessee to see a few documented test positive influenza hospitalizations. That's rather early, but I think as we're getting together again, these viruses are taking advantage. So I think we'll see more of that. That also will be part of our return to normal. But as I said before, I hope that people who are at particular risk of the complications of influenza, for example, as well as COVID, are personally more cautious. They ought to think, if there's an outbreak of influenza in your community, think about renting the movie rather than going to the movie. If you're going to worship services, sit in the back, wear the mask, keep your distance, a little less hugging and kissing, a little more waving and saying, good to see you. I'm being careful. See you next Sunday or whenever.